Hello and welcome everyone to today's workshop on the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. Before we begin the presentation, I just want to give a few housekeeping rules. So one is, as always, our public workshops are recorded, and this one is being recorded as well. And so during the presentation, I would request you all to please keep yourselves on mute and keep your videos off. If you are comfortable being in the recording during the Q&A session, then you can switch on your videos. And if you want to speak, and you can raise your hand and we'll call upon you. Otherwise, you can put your questions in chat. The format of the workshop is that we'll begin with a presentation where the recipients of the scholarship sort of speak to you, and then we'll move on to question and answers. I think most of the people are in now, so I'm going to start. So, as I said, hello and welcome everyone. So I'm going to start by introducing you to Project EduAccess and introduce you to today's panelists, who will then take you over what the scholarship is. They'll tell you about the scholarship catalog, discuss with you the eligible fields of study. They'll tell you a little bit about the selection criteria for the scholarship, what are the application documents that you need to submit for the scholarship, what the timeline may look like, and then discuss with you some general tips when you're applying for the scholarship, and then we move on to Q&A. As many of you would already know if you are here, but if some of you are joining us for the first time, Project EduAccess is a network of students and an organization that works towards making access to higher education, leadership, and professional opportunities available to students or learners from marginalized communities in India. We sort of recognize all of these opportunities are systematically denied to individuals from marginalized communities, and we try to sort of bridge that gap. What we do is provide a mentorship program. So a lot of you may already be a part of our India graduate mentorship program, but along with that, we also try to do a lot of capacity building workshops, both in person and online. And today is that one of those sort of capacity building workshops online, and that is available to the public. We have with us today three wonderful panelists. We have with us Ojaswita, who's a student at University of Geneva in Switzerland. And we have with us Rupsa, who's studying at Utrecht University in Netherlands, and Farseen, who's at the University of Oldenburg in Germany. All three of them are recipients of the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship and are here to talk to you about it. So I'm going to hand it over now to Ojaswita.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So I'll just give you an overview of the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. So Erasmus Mundus Joint Master Scholarship are a high level and integrated master's program, which is actually spread throughout various countries. Minimum, you have to at least have semesters in 2 countries. And then you can get like a degree from all these countries, all the universities you've attended. The cost that you can get or as a scholarship is around 1,400 euros that you get per month, and that would be sufficient to cover the living and the travel expenses. The deadline for most of the applications vary according to the program, so you'll have to just look onto the website. Basically, they start now in October and November, and they mostly go up to March, sometimes even April, and then they will take around, they might have 1 or 2 rounds of, within the application. That completely depends upon the program, and the results may be out by around May end. Can you go to the next one? Yeah, so it's very easy to navigate through the Erasmus Mundus catalog. So you just need to go on the website. The link is here, and then you can access it. And then there are a lot of filters there, and then you can filter it according to your the year you want to attend, the coursework, as well as whatever you are looking for. all these things, and then you will have a lot of suggestions for a lot of programs in general. You can then go on the website of each of these programs and see what are the requirements, admission requirements, their application procedure, and also the timeline of their application. Everything is mentioned on the website, and it's like pretty coherent. So, and as I said, you can submit the application starting from now, October to March. In general, again, everything is mentioned on the individual program websites. Also to mention here that whatever you have, whenever you have applied through the website, that's the only way you can apply. It's not that you have to go to different different university websites. The one website that's available of the program gives you access to the admission to all. Next slide. Yeah, as I said, you can filter, once you go to the Erasmus Mundus catalog, there are a lot of subjects that they offer, from the sciences, the STEM, as well as to the social sciences. They're super interdisciplinary. You can actually go onto the website and see what coursework they offer, what is the thesis, like places where you can do your thesis, what is the flexibility of each program, and which is pretty good. And as I said, you could just filter from the main website and go to the particular program website, which gives you more coherent, application procedure in general. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ojaswita. So coming to the selection criteria. So as Ojaswita has already shared, we have different Erasmus Mundus programs. So for each programs, the selection criteria will be different. So what you have to do is you have to go to the respective program website and you have to check what are their criteria for the selections. So basically, for most of the programs, a first degree is a minimum qualification that you are required to have. So it can be a bachelor degree with a certain number of credits. You can also be like in your last semester or last year of your degree, but many programs will require you to have the final marks in order to be considered for the scholarship. So you can apply for the program without actually graduating from the bachelor's, but for considering for the scholarship, generally they ask for your final marks. So typically for the selection, they have multiple things that they consider in order to select the candidates for each programs. So basically, they will look into your academic credentials, your marks that you have secured during your bachelor's. Then you have your motivation letter, then your work experience, relevant work experience that you have gained in relation to the program that you are applying. Then of course the recommendation. So all of these documents are or considered in order to shortlist the candidates. Can you please go to the next slide, please? So in order to apply for the program, first of all, you have to have a passport, of course. Then you have to have your bachelor degree certificate, which you will be asked to send to the admission committee on the online application form. Then the transcript for a bachelor's degree will be required in order to apply for the program. If you are in your final year or final semester of your program of your bachelor degree, you can even submit the transcript for the previous semesters. Then we have a statement of purpose or motivation letter, which we will discuss in detail in the coming slides, hopefully. Then your CV, then proof of residence. Since these scholarships are, given to students from different countries, we have to prove which country you are residing in. So you have to have that document, which you can get from the municipality or from the panchayat that you are residing. Then you have to have the English proficiency test. So most of the program may ask for IELTS or TOEFL or such English proficiency test, but there are many programs where you can apply, you can submit the medium of instruction. So if you have your bachelor's in English medium, you can just get a certificate, which you can submit as the proficiency of your English language. For India, like most of the universities have, like their, bachelor's in English. So all of the Indian students are usually, eligible for this. But it again depends on the program that you are gonna apply. Then finally, you may be asked to submit recommendation letters from your professors or from your supervisors at your internship or someone whom you know at a professional or academic level. Can you please go to the next slide? So yeah, so coming to the motivation or statement of purpose. So basically, this is one of the important document as far as your application is concerned, with along with your degree marks and other documents. This motivation letter or the statement of purpose act as a crucial document that decides whether you are gonna get the scholarship or not. So what you have to do is you have to go through the program website, go through them thoroughly, understand what are the program, what the program is about, what are the modules in the program, what are the different aspect of the program that they cover in the program. So go through them, and you have to ask these questions to yourself and answer them through the motivation letter. So you have to convince the admission committee why you are a good candidate for this particular program. So you can you can discuss, you can talk about your previous educational background, your if you have work experience, you can talk about them, and you can tell through the statement of purpose how your previous experience and your previous academic background is in aligning with the program that you're applying, and how this is gonna help you in your long-term career or professional goal. So this is basically a letter that you are gonna write to the admission committee to convince them that you are the you are a perfect candidate for this particular program. Like we at the Project EduAccess have a lot of resources for writing the motivation statement or statement of purpose. You can go to our website and see many resources relevant for this SOP. Then coming to the CV, European Union have their own website where you can create your CV. So usually most of the consortiums will prefer you to submit the CVs in Europa CV format. So this is a very, very easy and very convenient website where you can just give your inputs and you can create your CV according to their requirements. So we will be also sharing the link on the chat box, so you can just go to this link and you can give your inputs and prepare your CV. So yeah, next slide, please. Rupsa.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Rupsa.
Okay.
Yes.
So the timeline for the applications is mostly between October to January, and some also move over till February. But you also need to check, like there are different timelines for self-funded and scholarship. So if you're applying for scholarship, you need to check what the dates of your application is, and accordingly decide on from when you start your preparations, collect your documents, and so on. After the online application, there's a shortlisting, and if you're selected for an interview, they will let you know. And the selection list is sent out around May and June. And after that, the visa application process starts. So after that, you need to apply for the visa, you need to get your documents for that, and so on. So you'll, for the visa application, you usually need university documents. And for any documents, if let's say you are waiting for a document and so on, you should be in constant touch with the consortium of the program that you're applying to. Be in touch with the universities, because usually Erasmus is split into many universities. So you'll probably have 1 or 2 universities, or maybe 3 universities assigned to you. So the first university you'll go to is the country for which the visa application you'll be making. So the university will be in touch with you, but you also, for any questions you have, just be in touch with them. And after that, the classes begin from September. Yeah. And for general tips, just whatever program, because Erasmus Mundus is an interdisciplinary thing. So they have programs across disciplines, so STEM, humanities, and so on, social sciences. So you need to go through the catalog very thoroughly. And in the catalog, you'll find the website. For the ones that do not have the website in the catalog, just go to the university that is the main university that is running the program, and on their website you will definitely find information about the Erasmus Mundus program that they are offering. And so read the website very, very thoroughly, and just always email the consortium for clarifications, even for the silliest of questions, even if it's what CV am I supposed to use, if I can use a waiver. Often they give waivers if you have already studied in English. If you have studied courses in English, you can apply for an English language waiver. So whatever clarifications you want to make, just email the consortium. Contact course alumni. So you'll often find course alumni in maybe Facebook or LinkedIn and so on. So then you can gather more real life experiences of how it went for them. So then you can have a more wholesome idea about what the course is actually, and if you want to go ahead with it, or how you want to go ahead with it. For SOPs, write about specific modules. So when you write your SOP, go through the syllabus of the program you're applying to, and you'll find what modules they're offering. So it's very good to make your SOP very specific. So if you're interested in a professor, let's say, if you're interested in a specific course there and a university is offering, if you mention that, it is good, because then they know your interest areas, and they know what you are about and who they are taking and what you will contribute and how they can help you. And run the SOP by someone you trust. So if it's a professor, if your referees have time, and this is why if you contact people with time, then you can also run your SOP by them, so that they can, let's say, give you ideas or check it for you, and then it'll be better for them to write you a recommendation that is more tailor-made to you and your SOP and your motivation. The writing samples, often different courses require writing samples as well. So please check the course website, and then use the course website and the things that are in the course website to write your sample, to just see what they are seeing, what they are looking at, and how they have kind of arranged the course, or what themes or what aspects of a certain subject they're touching on, so that you can relate it to that, and so that your writing sample becomes more relevant. And contact your referees, gather your documents with enough time, please. Indian universities already take a lot of time, especially with transcripts. For example, my university took 1 month. Many universities take more than that. So you need to make sure that you have enough time to gather your documents so that you can hand it in. within the deadline. And also, like, a tip is that when you contact your referees, just tell them that the deadline is not the actual deadline. Just tell them the deadline is like 1 day before or 2 days before, so that you already have the letter or something like that. And just be in touch with your referees constantly, because they are very busy people and they often forget. So be in touch. And the application should be connected. So whatever you highlight in your CV, SOP, and recommendation letters should have continuity. So that is why it is always a good idea to take a lot of time and also run your CV, SOP by the people who are actually writing you the recommendation letters. Because often it happens that for my program, the referees were directly contacted. I did not get to read my recommendation letter. So if that is the case, it always helps if they know what you are going for, what your motivation is. And yeah, so those are the general tips. Thank you.
Amazing. That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Ojaswita, Farseen, and Rupsa. I think we've had like so many questions on chat, so I'm just going to stop sharing the screen. And if anybody has questions, then please either you can raise your hand, ask the question, or you can put it in chat and one of us can read it out. Okay, Fatima, do you want to go first?
Hi, thank you so much. My question is that do we need offer letters from the university before we apply to the scholarship? How does it happen? Because we have to apply to 2-3 universities, right?
Shall I go, Ojaswita?
Yeah, okay, you can.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thanks for the question. So Fatima, like, you don't have to get the offer letter, like the application for the program as well as the scholarship the same. So you'll be submitting one application for the program as well as the scholarships. You don't have to have an offer letter for this one, and you can apply as many courses as you want. Like, there is no limit with the number of programs that you can apply.
Within 2 years?
No, I mean, like, for each intake, you can apply to as many programs as you want. There is no limit.
Okay,
So we
okay.
found 193 Erasmus Mundus programs, so you can apply for as many of them, as far as it's as far as you are eligible for them.
Sorry, so how many programs? I mean, it's a 2-year program, right? It's a 2-year course. So how many universities and how many programs within 2 years is something that we should be aiming for?
I'm not
Okay,
sure.
can I answer? Okay, can I answer?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so what are you asking are two different questions. So first is you need to go to the program website, okay, and then you need to check all their, application procedure, what documents they require. Now, in one application cycle, that is, for example, if I'm applying this year for next fall, I can apply to as many programs as I like. Initially, there was a limit of applying to only 3 programs, but now there's no limit. For example, I am doing a master, like I am from chemistry, so I can apply to as many chemistry programs as I want, as long as I am eligible for them and as long as my research interests are similar to them. Okay. I don't need to select that, like I don't need to keep a priority. I can apply to as many as I want. And second, now mostly the whole program, the 2-year master's degree, is separated for all 4 semesters in 4 universities. For example, my first semester would be in France, second would be in Portugal, third would be in Switzerland, and fourth would be in, for example, Norway. So 4 universities have come together, have formed a consortium, and they are in together giving you courses for one master's degree. So please say that what track
Sorry, I can't.
you want
Yeah.
to follow. If they give you that, flexibility that you can choose which track you want. Again, everything is available on their website. Sometimes they say that you need to, do this. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
now we can
That you
adjust
need
it
to
out.
do like mandatory semesters. For example, first one, France. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you, I think.
Ojaswita, we can.
Okay. Okay, great. So, yeah, and sometimes
Sorry, Ojaswita, I think we're
they,
losing you again. If
okay,
it's an internet problem, do you think maybe switching the video off will help?
sometimes they tell you that you need to have some mandatory semesters in some universities. And again, whatever courses you want to follow, you
Sorry, Ojaswita, do you think it might be
can choose that university.
You're frozen again, Ojaswita.
Can
do
you hear me now? Otherwise,
maybe you
anybody
can switch your video off?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still frozen on video.
I think so. Anybody else can take over. I think there is an internet problem with.
Yeah, Farseen, Rupsa.
Yeah. So I think the question was probably about which universities you need to apply to, but the thing is that you apply to one program. So for example, if it's like one joint master's program, so many universities are coming together for it. So you don't need to make applications to specific. You need to, there's usually one scholarship application, and there you need to often indicate preferences. So which universities you want to go to. So if it's 2 years for my program, I had to indicate preferences of, there were 7 universities that were coming together, and I had to indicate which universities, which combination I wanted. So my first year was one university, my second year was another university. So they usually call it home and mobility university. And so there you can choose your preferences. So you'll be split into universities. And once the scholarship application is over, they will assign you depending again on your CV, on your preference, on your SOP. This is why we said that you need to, if you are specifically interested in university, you can mention the courses or the professor so that they know where to allocate you. So then they will allocate you the universities, and you'll get to know which universities you've been allotted. So then you don't need to specifically get an offer letter. You might need to then like for formality purposes, the university would probably send you something and you would need to fill it up. And then they will send you the offer letter that you'll use for your applications and so on. But it's not contingent on, the scholarship is not contingent on the offer letter. Yeah. Was there any other questions?
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay. Saransh, do you want to comment?
Yeah, so my question was relating to the research idea that we might propose in our SOP. So I just wanted a clarification whether this has to be by any chance Eurocentric, or we can like research on anything. Yeah, so that was the question. Like, can I research on any local issue of my country, or it has to be Eurocentric problem?
Farseen, you want to go, or Ojaswita?
Maybe you can go, Rupsa.
For me, I don't think so. It has to be a European specific one. You can go with your own country, but then again, for a bigger goal, you can take Europe in it and the whole world also. But I think so. You should go for your own country.
Yeah, same. For me also, it was not a condition that I have to focus on something Europe related. But of course, if you want to integrate it into your research or you want to expand your research with whatever you're doing for your country, and then you want to expand it or you want to draw parallels or whatever, if that's something you're interested in, you can do it. But whatever your research is, you can just put it out there and convince them why it is important and how the course will actually help you build on your research. That is what you mainly need to justify in your SOP or motivation letter.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. That helps.
Safar?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for conducting this session. Actually, my question is about the graduation timeline. Because most of the times I have heard that 4-year undergrad is an eligibility criteria for European countries, and they don't take 3-year undergrads. Plus, I checked some websites too, and the criteria is mentioned there also. And within the 3-year graduation, if there are some universities, they mention a student needs to have a research project during their undergrad. And I just want to just clarify these things, if it is the basic eligibility of the years within the undergrad.
So usually what happens is that there's no graduation bachelor's eligibility criteria. You just need to have a bachelor's degree. I mean, or you must be in one, whether it's 3 years, 4 years, it doesn't matter. And people I know, and even I like applied when I was in my 3rd year of bachelor's for the masters. So you can do that. Absolutely okay. But sometimes, again, you need to check the website and see. They might have this requirement that we need 4 years bachelor's, but usually in most of the programs, they don't have. At least in STEM, they don't have. Second, you said about the research project that, yes, that might be one of the criterias. I mean, usually in all the 3 years or 4 years degree, they have a thesis, but I'm from Delhi University and we didn't have it. And it was not a criteria also to apply. So it was completely okay. But sometimes it might be like the thesis should be there. But most of the programs, again, as I said, doesn't require it. So you need to like see it on the website. If you think that these things are not mentioned on the website, you can just email the coordinator. You can ask like the simplest of the simplest questions. They'll reply to you. Nothing will happen. But in general, there's no criteria for the degree and no thesis thing also. It's absolutely okay.
Fine, but like same is my case also. I don't have any research project that is mentioned on the transcript because our university didn't have such things. But I have a research project that is an extracurricular, so that isn't mentioned on my transcript. So would that work?
So having a thesis and having research internships and projects are two different things. So obviously, like when you're applying for a master's degree, they would require some, research activity in addition to your coursework. It doesn't have to be any, high level publishable work or stuff like that. It just shows that, you are interested in research and you are doing some internships or projects in general. So there's that, yes, obviously you need to mention that in your CV and your SOP because it's everything together will make your application, not only your transcripts. But I thought that you said that the program website said that you need to have like a thesis or a project on your transcript. That usually doesn't happen, and they usually ask only for the transcripts, like the coursework and whatever extra research internships you have done. But there is no specific criteria for asking for like a thesis. Yeah.
Oh, fine, understood. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Ashley?
Yeah, hi. My question is actually to Rupsa. So, regarding the GEMMA scholarship, the expiry date of funding is mentioned as 2025. So I was wondering if they would be funding students this year for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship.
As far as I know, probably yes. They have been having meetings about like scholarship renewals and so on, but we don't exactly know yet about, I don't know, the funding closing down or anything. So I think it should be fine. Like the scholarships should be available. In case it is not, I'm sure they will put it out on the website, but I do not know anything surely as of now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Also, one more question regarding the motivation letter. So last year I had applied for GEMMA and I was on the reserved list. I did not get through. So I was wondering if there is any specific, like advisable word limit or something which we can write our motivation letter.
I think a good since there is no word limit given on the website, I think like 4 pages is fine. Like because I think they have 4 questions, right? So I think a 4-page cap, or like if you want to keep it more precise, a 2-page one should be fine. And if you've been on a reserved list, there has like a friend of mine was on the reserved list and the next year she got in. So often it is not really a reflection of your capabilities or a lack of strength in your application, but rather it's many students and they probably found like they probably had to take someone else because of whatever criteria they were deciding it on. So you can definitely apply again. And if you have a specific person who took your interview, a professor who took your interview, and you want to, let's say, ask them that, what, if you want to stay in touch with the professor, you can ask the professor that, what can I do to better my application? I think my friend did that. And she had said that it was very competitive and encouraged her to apply again. So that is something you can do. You can email the consortium or also reach out to the professor who, if you have been interviewed, or if you have any professor that you want to reach out to. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Kriti, do you want to go next?
Yeah, hi. So I have 2 questions for Rupsa. I'm also thinking of applying to GEMMA this year. First question is, and this may be because I'm not very well versed with the process yet. So I know, Rupsa, you went to Utrecht as the main university, and I went through the catalog, and there are like 5-6 unis mentioned there. How do I know which one is the main uni or which one should I apply to? First question is that. And the second is, I wanted to ask you about the career prospects or employability or things after you're done with the studies.
So generally, career prospects for students are like not super great. It's just something I would say, like not super optimistic in this regard, because of course it's very difficult to again search for jobs, be it here, be it back home. And the transition period is always a little scary, but students do find jobs. Often students do like part-time jobs while they're also searching for jobs. And so that happens. Career prospects are basically, it's either if you want to stay in the education field, so you're doing researcher jobs or research consultant jobs. If you want to go into, because gender studies is interdisciplinary, so you can want to go into publishing, you can want to go into, let's say, journalism, you can want to go into archival work or museums, galleries, and so on. So there are many places that you can be applying to, depending on, or NGOs and organizations. So depending on what you're doing and what your project is or what your experience has been in. So for that also, it's always recommended to talk to professors once you're here, to get to know the place as well and what things they offer. So what can you apply here if you want to apply here, or if it is somewhere else, then you need to do some research, and it's advisable to talk to career guides at the university or professors and so on. For your other question, my home university was actually York. So I was assigned University of York as home and Utrecht as my mobility. But if you're assigned Utrecht as your mobility for the second year, Utrecht has a condition that you will have to complete your thesis from Utrecht. So I finished my completed my second year from Utrecht because that is their condition. You cannot choose to go back to your home university if you're assigned it for your second year. So that's what I did. And currently I have finished, and I'm also looking for like job stuff, and I'm going back home. My visa ends on 30th of November. So I'm going back home in November, but they have an orientation year visa, which recent graduates apply for, and you can apply for the orientation visa within 3 years after your graduation. So even if you're back home, you can still apply for it and then come back to the Netherlands and they give you 1 year. It's like a work search visa. So you don't have a work, but you're a graduate and you're searching for work. So then it depends on your financial condition and what you can sustain. People sustain themselves through part-time jobs and so on, and then keep looking for things. So that is also a thing. And in the UK also, people apply for this work search visa. It's like a 2-year thing. So those are there. So yeah, and the home and mobility, you will be assigned. So you don't need to worry about that. Like, you need to give your preferences and you need to mention it clearly in your CV, what your inclination is, so that they can understand where they can put you. Yeah.
Can you guide me? How do we put our preferences? What to look for in the unis? Because about the US and UK universities, still there is some know-how because we keep talking. But the universities mentioned in the GEMMA, these are all German and that area. So how did you choose the preference of the unis?
So firstly, the syllabus. You need to go through the syllabus. They have the syllabus given. So the modules are given, what modules each university offers. So depending on that, so University of York is mainly a social science-based university. Utrecht is more a humanities-based university, which is why I wanted Utrecht, because I come from a more humanities-related background. So it is more comfortable for me. But they assigned me York because I think I had mentioned a specific module, and then they assigned me, that's why. But then my second year was this. So depending on that, CEU is also more humanities inclined, Central European University. University of Poland, again, I do not exactly know, but you need to check check university websites individually and check the GEMMA program will have the syllabus. So go through the syllabus, then you will get to know what kind of modules they're offering. So if they are more social sciences inclined or they're more humanities inclined, so then you'll know what helps your research or your work.
Last question is, could you tell me a little bit about your dissertation research, or what are the career or employment opportunities that you are looking for after your experience? Because as of now, I want to go into research. I've been a banker. I've been in State Bank of India for the past 8 years. And this is a personal motivation combined with my experience here at SBI. So I'm looking forward to making a switch into research and academia. But since you've already done with studies, if you could give me a ground reality check and sort of what you are looking for.
So the ground reality check is that it's scary once things have ended. The transition period is very difficult. And then you need to think that, oh, it's back to square one again. And I need to decide what to do and this and that. I am mostly inclined towards researcher positions and like research assistant or consultant positions. Aside from that, because I have a humanities background, I'm also interested in either archival positions at museums and galleries, and I have some experience there, and or publishing in industry. So these are the places that I'm broadly looking for. Yeah.
What was your dissertation?
My dissertation.
Did you do research?
Yeah. I had to do a thesis. My thesis was on my thesis was on natal family violence in the context of India. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for being so patient and answering all my
No
questions.
worries. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. Dada sir, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you so much. It's very insightful discussions for the as far as Erasmus Mundus is concerned. I think Ojaswita did answer the question. It partly that do they also entertain the candidates with lower grades, like in Indian context, like 50, let's say 60% or around, 2:2, because in UK there are like specific this thing 2:1 is something, without that they don't entertain. So when I was looking at programs in humanity, especially Rupsa and rural development, they mentioned that XYZ number of credits needs to like 180 credits and all of that, but they don't talk about percentage per se, grade per se, or CGPA per se. So any comment on that? And somebody has done a lot of development work or have extensive work in development impact. Do they entertain those kind of things?
Anybody want to take that? Farseen or Ojaswita?
Oh, hi. As you said, I almost answered the question, but like the US universities, they don't have like a specific criteria for the grades. But what I've seen, obviously, a bit higher, like around starting from 7.5, it would be like really good. And then again, if you support it with good research and your recommendations, plus your IELTS score and everything, then it's like actually the whole application they look into. But definitely, like if you have a bit higher grades, then like when you're comparing two candidates, that would be like one of the most deciding factors. So I think so, yeah, you can apply, but a bit on a higher side, it would be good.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and can I just add, I think more generally as well,
Sure.
I think because people are applying from different countries, different universities, not everybody has a uniform way of marking. So
Yeah.
so the way they evaluate your application and your scores is one to see how you performed relative to your class and your batch in your university. So for example, a 60% even in DU college would actually be considered in the top percentage because that's how the marking scheme works. And so they usually see your performance relatively, and this is where your letter of recommendations would come in, where they need to be able to tell, the reviewers what your position is in terms of your class, your batch, your cohort. So I think that more generally is the rule for university and scholarship applications.
But should give a try. That's what you mean to say, Ojaswita, right? I mean, okay.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Like sometimes even the high scorers don't get the scholarship, and people with, a bit less on the GPA side, like do get it. So you don't know what's happening there. So the least you can do is like give your best and everything. So just apply, and also like you don't have to pay anything. And yeah, so it's like a free application and whatever you want. So if you have the good documents and everything, you can at least give it a try. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, on development side, definitely have a good candidature, I would say. I worked across third world countries and worked in CSR and consulting and policy level. However, the undergrad grades are around, I would say precisely 58. However, my MBA grades are 83%. So does this something make sense?
I think Ojaswita's internet is struggling now, but I think yes, as she recommended, like you should just apply.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Kamran?
Okay, I too have a very similar kind of question we earlier had. Like,
I think Ojaswita answering it.
hello. Hello.
Go ahead, Kamran.
Oh, I think she dropped.
Yeah, it's fine. Kamran, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that I do have a very similar kind of question. I was saying that I have done graduation and masters, but I don't have very good grades in graduation. but I too have good grades in master. So I just wanted to know, like, if I apply for masters, like which degree of my which degree of mine would get more weightage when it comes to like evolution for my application.
Farseen, Rupsa, do you want to take that?
Farseen, you want to take this?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. I was answering.
Okay. Okay. So I think like because it's a master's program, the main transcript they check is bachelor's. But there's a section where you can submit other documents. Like for my thing, there was a section for other documents where you could give everything else that you want to give it to them. But because it's a master's program, they ask, the transcript that they ask for is the bachelor's transcript. So I don't exactly know if the weightage of the marks would be given to the master's instead of bachelor's, or if they'll see like for both. But Ojaswita, do you have any idea about this?
I mean, you're right. I don't have that much, but as far as I know, and they like it's on the application also that you need to mention all the degrees that you have undertaken. So you need to mention your bachelor's and master's if you have already done. And then in SOP, you just need to tell like why are you going for a second master's. Otherwise, yeah, it's not like they're looking. They're not looking at masters. They just need to know like whatever you have done. So if you have done a master's or are doing it, and you would want to show it, absolutely like write it, put it in the CV, because in the application form also sometimes, most of the times they like have a column mention all the degrees that you've done, so you can do that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Saberi, do you want to go next?
Hi. So basically, I had a question regarding work permits after completing the Erasmus Mundus program. So which country are we allowed to stay in? Can we stay in the country that we did our first degree from, and so on?
So as far as I am aware of, it depends on the countries where your universities are, located. In my case, Germany is my home university, so I am eligible to get a job seeker visa in Germany after my graduation. So it depends. It completely depends on the countries. And as far as I know, like if you spend at least one semester in France, you will also be eligible to get a job seeker visa in France as well. So if your consortium have a university in France, I guess you'll be eligible to get a work permit in France as well.
Okay, would you know how this works for the UK?
I'm not very much sure about it. Maybe Rupsa, like your program have UK in consortium, right?
Sorry, I was checking some questions on the chat. Can you can you?
Yeah, sure. So the question was about the post degree work permit options in the UK.
Okay. Yeah, the UK also has a work search visa, which is like a 2-year work search visa. It's a little costly, so it's pretty costly actually, but many students do take that up. Yeah, it's a 2-year thing, so you can still search for work and be in the UK for 2 years. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful.
Amazing. Pragati?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, so I had 2-3 questions. So first one was that how old my residential proof can be, because I not recently, a few years back, I got it done. So do I need to make another one, or how old it should be, the residential proof that they are asking for? Does it has to be few months, like was the time period I'm looking at? So if you can answer that.
I think you may have to check the respective program website. So in my case, I was not required to submit my residence permit at all.
Okay.
So I had to submit, and it was written that it should not be older than 12 months, which is a year. So I would suggest if it's a recent one, you should put that.
Okay, okay. And one more thing that I wanted to know, in regards to references, do my academic reference has to be a professor that I have studied under, or it can be somebody who I have researched under as well? Apart from the college that I've done work in research, can that also help?
Yeah, absolutely. Like references could be the one where you've done your research, and academic anything. Usually they require 2 or 3 research LORs. LORs. So if you want, you can give one of academic and one of research. So that would be good.
One more thing regarding the references only. I don't have not such extensive work in research. I have done dissertation and one small project, but I've done a lot of practice. Again, I'm from humanities. I have done a lot of work in practicing part of it, so to say. So, can I also provide a reference for the organization that I've worked under, or does it has to be a research based? What is much more preferred, so to say?
I'm not sure about the humanities stuff, but I think so that as I said, that one from the place that you've done your internship and one from the academic would be good. But sometimes they usually say that academic references are necessary. So I would just suggest you that have at least one academic one, and the second one you can have it from your internship or your academic, whatever you want. But keep at least one academic.
Oh, one more question that I had. Certain course that I was interested in are they are in the list in the catalog, but when I go to the the website, it says that they're not providing Erasmus funding anymore, like for this year. So should I contact the coordinator and ask, or they just are not providing it? What should I do? Because many of the courses that I'm interested in, they are ending this year, or they're saying this year they're not providing, they're currently in negotiation, whatever it is. So I'm not able to understand, should I apply for it, or should I drop that the courses and look for something new?
So I would highly recommend you to check the websites regularly. Usually European Commission, European Union, allocate funds for certain years of programs. So these programs will keep applying for renewing the funding. So maybe towards the end of the year, they may be getting the funding. So I would really recommend you to keep checking the website.
Okay, but currently they have mentioned that this year they are not giving, so it doesn't matter. Like, can there be a change, or should I just mail them and ask?
I think so. If they've mentioned on the website, then they are not offering. Mostly the websites are always up to date. But then again, just shoot them an email. It's like you don't lose nothing. So just to be on a safer side, you can just email them.
Okay, that is all. Thank you so much.
The websites are usually very up to date. So keep checking the websites.
Yeah, and also if there is like a particular university there that you are interested in, and then you can also check the university and alternate funding of the university. So in case the program is not viable anymore, but you still have within the program there is a university that you would be interested in studying, then just check the university courses and the university funding maybe as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. And sometimes what happens is that they mention also that if you do not get the Erasmus funding, you might be applicable for the university funding. So that's also like good. You can apply for that also.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. Perfect. Soumya? Soumya, do you want to ask your, yeah. go ahead.
Hi, yes, thank you so much for doing this. So my question is about references. I wanted to ask, my professors have written references for the past 2 years, and I couldn't get through because of some complications. But my question is, can I use an old reference if it's dated for 2022 or 2021? Would that be something that I can use? Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, you are. Does anyone want to take that question?
Oh, can you come again, please? I missed the question.
So basically, I have old reference letters. I have old letters of recommendations. I wanted to know if whether we can use old letter of recommendations 1 or 2 years old in our application. Yeah.
I think it's a very subjective matter. Like some of the programs may ask you to submit reference letter that is not older than certain period. But I can't really answer like this question objectively. I would I would recommend getting, you know, like latest reference
Yeah.
letter.
I mean, I would also suggest, I think more generally as well, not just for, I mean, not just for Erasmus Mundus, but for any scholarship or university application, it's better if the recommendation letter is up to date, so they take into account sort of the progress that you've made in your life since then, and it needs to be sort of dated to it needs to be addressed specifically to that scholarship or to that university. It needs to be dated, you know, close to when it's submitted, so it doesn't seem like the same thing is being forwarded everywhere. And also it's always good that the recommendation speaks directly to the requirements of that course or to that scholarship. So the more particular it is to where it's being sent, the better it is. So I'm guessing the one that is written, like, say, 2 years ago may not be that specific to the context to which it's being sent, and similarly may not take into account what all you may have done in the next in the 2 years since. So I would recommend that you get one that is more up to date.
Okay. Thank you. Can I ask one more question?
Go ahead.
I also wanted to ask whether or not, just a second, there's some.
Okay, in the meantime, if there's any question that was put in chat but hasn't been responded to, do you want to raise your hand and ask that question?
Before that, I'll just take a leave. So thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, of course, Ojaswita. Thank you for staying on. Okay, bye. Thank you so much.
Hi, can I go again? Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
really sorry. I just
That's
blacked
fine.
out.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I wanted to also ask whether or not how do I frame this? I'm sorry, I'll just stop. Just
So if it's easy for you to just put your question in chat, then please do that, Soumya. We'd be happy to
yes, okay,
respond.
okay. I'll do that. I'll do that.
Okay, yeah. Fatima, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, my question was, do we need to learn the German or Spanish or French, or it really depends upon the course? Because I have heard that if your consortium does have courses in Germany, then it does require to be learned German. So how does the language part work? If you can just tell me.
In my case, we had an optional German course. I personally suggest taking the language course, especially if you want to work in these countries. Language is a crucial part, especially in Germany. Like language is a critical thing if you're looking for if you want to access the job market in Germany. So it completely depends on the course. Some of the programs may offer language courses. Also, the university that you're enrolled at may have language courses. So it's completely like in most of the cases, languages can be an optional thing. But I would highly recommend you to take those language courses.
So does that mean while applying we don't need to know the language, right? I mean, of course, after going there we can take up the language course, but while applying we don't. There's no condition, right?
Again, for certain programs, like for example, there's a program called NOHA. For NOHA, like there are couple of universities where you will have to have proficiency of Spanish or French if you want to choose those universities. So it again depends on the program and the university that you're going to apply for.
Okay, thank you. And is there any age limit, or how does it work for mature students? Because I'm sure since it's divided between different universities, of course there is an aspect of loneliness, or probably, but do you have any idea about mature students being a part of this scholarship? Is there an limit? I mean,
as far as I know, at least in my program, there is no age limit. I have a colleague who is like 37 in my class. So I'm sure that there will be a age limit for any of the programs. But certain programs will ask you have a previous degree, which is not, older than 5 years. For example, in my program, like our previous degree should not be like older than 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
still, if you have, like convincing arguments to, convince the admission committee that you're still an eligible candidate, you can still apply for the program.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Perfect. I think we've answered.
I have one question. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
So, like, I have done post-graduation in master's in applied geology. So my question is like, if we I have 2 internships and 1 master's thesis. So if we are applying, I have found one a master's program in groundwater and global change. So it's like if we apply for it, like I have already done one. Working for a publication work. Should we wait for the publication or like? I mean, it's not yet completed. So I'm working for that. So like if I applied, I mean, after the publication, will that be more suitable or like I can apply right now? Like even if I am completed the masters, which way is better? Like would they consider this internship and publication more and more, or just that would be enough? Like I have done one internship in suggestion.
I'm so sorry. Like the question was not clear. It was breaking.
I think from what I understand, the question is if you are so if you've done a degree and you've done a master's and you have your master's thesis, but you've also done an internship and have a publication, then in your application would these be considered? I don't know if I've understood that correctly. And correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm saying like if this is under process, like the publication is under process. This year it may not be happening. Like before the January, it would not be possible to publish it there. So I cannot add into the CV, right? So I'm just asking like, should I wait for the next year or just apply with whatever I have? Like if I applied again, it would be it's does not make any difference, right?
You can apply this year. You don't have to wait. Those publication. Like you can still mention in the CV that you have a forthcoming publication. Yeah.
And if it's under review, then you can mention that it's under review or something like that. You can always do that.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
great.
If we have any unattended questions in the chat box, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, I think there's one question which is, do LORs from a workplace after 4 years of work experience hold as much weightage as academic ones? Would working in a social and development sector be helpful in an application?
So like as Ojaswita has already mentioned, it completely depends. Like if the program that you're applying to is more of industry oriented, and yeah, if it's more industry oriented, I would recommend getting an LOR from development sector or a supervisor at your workplace. If the program is more of academic or research oriented, it'll be good to have a reference from a professor or an academic guide. So yeah, that's for Soumya. Misbah, you are muted, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that I don't think there are any unanswered questions in chat and there are no hands raised. So I'm guessing no one has any questions. For those of you who are watching a recording of this session, most of the questions that were in chat have been answered in some or the other ways, even in the Q&A section. So you've not missed out on anything. And a lot of them were sort of repetitive in terms of going back to the catalog, going back to the university website, going back to the program website to see what the requirements were and sort of and if there were any queries that you had, then reaching out to the program coordinator to get that clarification. And again, if you have any specific queries, you can always email us at info@projecteduaccess.com if you're not a mentee with us. And we'd be happy to answer your questions. And I think that's about it. Thank you so much, Rupsa and Farseen, for joining us today, for sort of giving the presentation and being so patient in answering the many questions that came your way. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today. And yeah, good luck with your applications. Hope you all have a nice rest of the weekend.
Just one thing, Misab, if I can, just got it. So maybe Pasim can or Rupsa can answer. Like when I was looking at catalog, no, then and background is CSR and as I said, social work degree. There are hardly any programs are there, and as somebody mentioned, some of the programs also, says that when I go to the specific program page, it says that this year they're not, there is no scholarship this year. So is it advisable to go to the website and write to some coordinators or somebody and see that there is a possibility to, because as I said, there are very limited programs available for humanity specifically and social work or policies actually. There are more on technology and innovations and all of that. So any advice, last piece of advice, Rupsa or person on this?
I think like the decision is from the European Commission, so they are the ones who allocate the funds. So the program coordinator doesn't have any role in this, as far as I know. But I think like there are around 193 programs as of now under in the catalog. So maybe you can take more time and see if you have any other programs that is relevant for your academic background or professional experience. I'm sure that there'll be, like, I found a lot of programs in social sciences, so maybe
Okay.
you can take.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Amazing. So with that, we close the session. For those of you who were asking about the recording, I'm just going to share the link of our YouTube page where all the recordings of public sessions that we've done before are uploaded, and the recording of this workshop will also be available. Yeah, so I have put it in chat, and you can, as I've said in chat, if you have any specific queries, you can also email us on sort of info@project.eduaccess.com. I've also sent a link for our website where we've uploaded a lot of resources on drafting your application documents and also recordings of various sessions that we've run last year. And we'll also share the PPT of this along with the recording on the YouTube page. So hopefully all of these resources will be accessible to you by the end of the weekend or early next week. Again, Rupsa and Farseen, thank you so much for joining us and speaking to us and being so very patient. And thank you everyone else for joining us. Take care. Bye everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone. All the best.
Thank you.